Okay. Coach, I think you're on mute. Okay, we have Nagraj, we have Gladys, and we have Vidyasagar.
Yeah,
Hey, Coach. Good evening or good afternoon. All right. So, Coach, we have a few of the new batch students on the call already. Some might not be able to join today. I've started recording anyway, so I can share this with them. One of the students was actually part of the first batch, Vidyasagar. So he took a little bit of a break in between, and he wants to start up again. So he's rejoining from this December batch. Anyway, I'll get started. I'll let you talk. So if you could just give a quick introduction about yourself, Coach, and about the training and about cycling and everything, about power meters, what these guys can expect. I think that'd be an awesome start. So I'll hand it over to you, Coach. Coach, can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Oh, is everybody equipped with the power meter? Hold on. That should work. How is it now? Huh. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, Coach, but your video is not coming up.
Yeah, now I'm sitting in a
But we can hear you. I can hear you for sure.
Okay, so let me try to restart the video every once in a while here. It seems to be fine, but I don't know. Okay, at least you can hear me now.
Coach, I don't know if you're talking now, but I can't hear you.
What is it? No luck.
Okay, now your video is back.
Yeah.
Yep, and now we can hear you as well.
Yes.
All right, we can get started, Coach.
It's amazing. It's the same setup as before. I don't know.
That's a mind of its own.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. All right. Okay. So hi everybody. Sorry for that one. The video restart at least didn't work. Yeah. Well, so for those who haven't met me before, or who I haven't met before, well, I'm Volker Meyer. I'm sitting in Germany here, and started out as a pilot in the German Air Force, and cycling was my passion all through the years. I mean, from growing up as a child, right? So that's how the passion began right from the early stage. And I retired. I think it's almost 10 years now. Well, yeah, 9 years ago, I retired from flying, and then I entered the coaching business directly. I mean, I got to know Hunter Allen, met him in America a few times, and he also was in Germany already with me here a few times. So yeah, that's how it all came together basically, and how I managed to become a cycling coach after that. So that's what I do now. Living in a nice area actually for cycling. I mean, no traffic signs, nothing, right? So you can cycle 5 hours, no problem. You don't need to stop once. And it's very hilly as well. So paradise. And I know that parts of India are excellent climbing territory too, but Chennai isn't. Been there, seen it, and it's very hot. So I also know some of your limitations you have, and most of the time the early training hours as well, just to be out of the heat there. So I got to know that one as well. But I also got to see some nice like Tiruvannamalai and some other climbs right in Uti. So been there, and it's a great country too. Yeah. So yeah, most of the time I do the training plans with power, right? And if you haven't introduced to it yet, I mean, normally everybody is nowadays because of the Swift platform, right? So a few years ago it was kind of a bit different, but right now everybody has at least had small insights into training with power. And I mean, that gives us basically the complete picture. So it's not to say that throw away heart rate and just go with the power, but instead actually use it both, right? Because now we know what kind of stress we're introducing to our body and how the body reacts to it, which is a nice learning there as well. Not only from a day-to-day basis, but also on a long-term chronicle scale, just to see how things are moving along. And that's basically how those training plans are honestly built. I mean, you can, if you have done a bit of training, you probably know, well, there's this one theory, right, about the training, or one principle of training is like progression, right? So if you do more and more and more, you get better and better in doing more and more and more. So that's one thing. And then there is doing it harder as well. There's this intensity thing, right, which actually the power plays a big part in that one. And what I try with the training plans issued in those groups, I basically look into your data which you provide basically over your workouts, right, or over your entire rides, and I try to juggle out the intensity thing or the more duration side of things, right? So more about endurance thing, like um, longer rides or more sustainability in your rides, basically. So I try to juggle that all along, and that's why I always, especially after a few weeks, I split the group into two groups as well, just to have like one intense group, right? They need a little bit more intensity at that time, and then we flip flop every once in a while and do rides which where you basically gain stamina, right, and basically the endurance part, or be able to cope with a lot of tempo work, for example, right? So be in the pack when it counts in the end for the sprint to the finish line, basically. And it also helps. I mean, it doesn't help you if you're racing. it doesn't only help you when you're racing. It's also a good thing while just recreational, while doing just recreational rides, because it's still the same things which happen, right? You all heard about the plateau effect, right? So at some point you can lengthen the distance for sure, right? But at some point you're just basically fatigued, right? And one principle doesn't work any longer. So you need the change as well and some different kind of workouts as well. And even if you're not a sprinter, every once in a while you also need to have or to practice at least a bit of sprinting, right? It helps you in skills, riding skills as well, balancing skills, stuff like that. And that's what I try to incorporate in those plans as well. So we have already 3 groups, and yeah, it works pretty nice until now.
And, all these guys, their friends are already part of one of those groups, so they're kind of aware of what the training
Mhm.
plan looks like and how much they've been improving over the last few months, just following
Mhm.
the workouts and stuff. So I'll just
Yeah,
let
yeah.
them introduce themselves so that you know a little bit about the new group as well. So let's start with Gladys. Gladys, if you'd like to go first. Gladys, you're on mute. Sorry.
So thank you, Shiv. So I'm Gladys and I work with the company as a HR here in Chennai. And I have been cycling for about 2 years. This is all like, part of my cross training, which I do running and, workout, otherwise strength training. So the past 1 month haven't been riding because I came back from a Himalayan trek and I took it slow and have been mentally getting ready to get into racing. So I've been purchasing things related to that. And I have a friend here, Nagaraj, and few other friends who have been encouraging me and talking a lot around this. And I thought this is something I always try to fix something new when I come back from the trek. So I thought this is something I'm going to get into.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I just got my soda here and I'm so excited.
Yeah, for the pain cave.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she'll be setting up a new bike, which is getting built as well right now, Coach.
Yeah, right.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Gladys.
that's about me. And I'm hoping to, improve myself. And also I have a target around this. So I'm ready to push towards that. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh yeah, and I mean the riding experience of 2 years is honestly quite good. So you've seen balancing issues, you've seen clipping.
So yeah,
Yeah.
here I have always been using straight bars, so I haven't been using bend bars. So this is the first time I'm going to get used to it. Probably that's not going to take much of my time. So at the max 1 month. So that's a long time. So I think balancing hasn't been an issue for me. So I think I can handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good
Yeah.
good duration already for the sport itself.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Next,
Thank you.
Nagraj, would you like to go ahead?
Do I go last? The most unlikely guy, I'll go last.
Oh, seriously?
Okay, so I guess we can ask Ramachandran, would you like to go next and just give a quick intro about yourself?
Yeah, hi Srivatsan. Hi Volker.
Hi.
I am Ramchandran. I started riding cycle on a pandemic to just be active in some physical activity. So for past 2 years, I am riding and I'm riding in the same level where I started. So I want to improve my. So
Yeah,
I can do endurance, but my speed is still in the same level what I started. So I need to try this coaching.
Yeah. So basically a different, slightly different approach, maybe to it as well. Yeah. But that's standard. I mean, that's almost like the plateauing effect, right? Where you either you don't get better from the start, or after a few rides, right? You enjoy it, you get a bit better, but then it's like stagnating.
Yeah, maybe that was due to my team also. In my team, everybody is riding in the same speed only.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, yeah. The only thing probably which changed, right, was the distance. So duration. Yeah.
Yes,
And that doesn't make you really faster. Correct. Yeah. Awesome. Cool.
Thanks, Ram.
Thank you.
So Coach Sagar, Vidyasagar is in his workplace, so he won't be able to talk, but you already know about him. Walter is a new a joiner as well, so I'll let Walter explain a bit about himself.
Hello. Hi, Coach. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Hello. Hi. My name is Walter. I think on this call we'll be two people with German names now.
Yeah, correct.
All right. Yeah. So good to see you, Coach. So I have been cycling for the since pandemic, like the previous speaker just mentioned. But I'm also into swimming and running as well. So I did briefly experiment with training for triathlons, did a couple of sprint triathlons, and but I mostly stick to cycling. That's my favorite sport. That's my main sport. And I wanted to join this class because most of my friends, the people I ride with, are already training under you. Once in a while, I get a glimpse of your workouts as well. I also trained with Training Peaks Coach Match Service the last few months, where I was on a single plan where a triathlete from Australia was training me, because I'm a student who's freshly moving to early career stages. So my schedule is very unpredictable, lots of travel across the world and lots of schedule changes at the last minute. So I wanted a personalized plan. So that's why I joined that. I got my base fitness and all these things to an extent on a particular level. But now I think Srivatsan sir has mentioned repeatedly the benefits of structured training. So I want to be fit. That's my primary goal. I want to be good at all the three sports that I do. Cycling being the main one. So any local event that's happening, I want to do well and feel good about myself and set achievable targets within my busy schedule and so on. So this is my aim. So yes, Coach, I only wanted to know if there was a possibility of on 1 or 2 days, if you could include run or swim workouts or anything for recovery or something like that, or if we could work out something along those lines. I wanted to know if there is a possibility for that.
Well, yeah, we directly including it would be like tough on everybody else, but I mean, generally swimming doesn't tend to be like a highly fatiguing sport, right? Especially if it's not the main sport you do. Most of the drills are technical drills anyway in swimming, and that's main part of it, right? Having a good technique in the water. So swimming basically you could do all day long, and I have rest days in there you could use for running. And now it all depends, because it's like 50-50, right? Some guys and girls are heavy or tend to have like muscle aches after a run, and the other 50 don't. So it all depends, right? If you need to have a rest day, then you'll feel that, right? And you'll also see the, I would say, main workouts of the week. You can see them, right? And so if there is just an endurance ride after the third day of riding anyway, well, yeah, just go running. Because it still benefits endurance as well. It's not super sport specific, we know that, right? But while there are different workouts during the week, one probably including sprinting, well, that's like you need to do that on a bike, right? For sure. Yeah. But a slowly paced endurance ride, why not go running instead? In your case, just to have the balance of all those sports. So I think you'll get a glimpse of it. And I mean, we can text, but you'll see quite soon on where it'll fit, right? And from your experience, then is it good to do a run then, and maybe do a intense ride the next day on the bike, or should I have a rest day in between, right? So that's I think the only thing you should be concerned of, yeah. And for everybody, um, the it in Training Peaks, right? You can also change the workouts on. If you have a basic account, you can do that really. But what you can do is, if a workout shows up on the day, you can also get it to your Garmin or Wahoo, right? And then download it and label it into your Wahoo, so you don't lose it, right? So I recommend just adding maybe a timestamp, right? So today, 28th of 11, right? Maybe 2-3 for the year as well, and then you basically tagged it, right? So you can find it again. That'll help too, right? So that will be kind of things you will run into sooner or later to get that those workouts again, right? So that's how we can go with that. And triathlon, I mean, being good at cycling is excellent for almost any distance in triathlon. Because if you're good there, I mean, you're able to win, right? You won't win with the run, and you won't win with the swim. Yeah, that's for sure.
So Walter, anyway, usually in Coach Volker's plans, there's about 5 workouts per week, typically, which means there's one day of maybe a complete rest and maybe one day of like an easy recovery ride. On those days, if you feel fresh and if you feel like you want to go for a run or add a swim in there, you can always do that. Again, take a call on how your body feels, because that's the ultimate indicator on how much you can do. And if you have an intense workout the next day, then maybe you shouldn't be doing too many strenuous activities the day before. So yeah, as you go along, just play around and see how it feels.
And one more thing, I mean, maybe some of the others are thinking about doing different sports as well, or cross training. I heard, right, from you, Gladys. So it's a good idea nowadays, because we have those heart rate monitoring all day long, right, with the watches. Mine is loading present time, that's why I don't wear it. But the watches are excellent. They are really good. Every watch who's doing HRV, or like Garmin is doing a body battery, right? The Wahoo strap, stuff like that. So you don't need to buy super fancy equipment. It's just a fitness watch present time, and the watch is already basically at least having a glimpse and giving you an idea of your fatigue levels, right? On the other hand, you should feel that as well. So especially with triathletes or athletes who juggle more than one sport, it's really important. Go by feel. If you really feel bad that day, yeah, I mean, it's always, we need to do the work, I know, at some point, but we also need to rest to really adapt to the work we did, right? And that's most of the time what we forget. So a watch is maybe helping us there as well, just giving an idea and waving basically like the red flag, where it says, hey, HRV is basically not reacting, right? It's always the same and it's super flat. Don't do the ride then, right? Wait one day and you'll see after one rest day, totally different story, right? Perfectly rested, HRV super high again, perfect. Yeah. So I would recommend that for everybody who needs to look at or who wants to look at more than one sport activity.
Okay, and last but not least, Nagaraj, as you asked.
Okay, so I think I'm the odd guy out. Hi, Volker. I am also. I spent 6 years in the Indian Air Force. I was not flying, but I was with ground-to-air missiles. So we have that in common.
Cool.
But that was a long time back. Uh, mm, so I have not been cycling for long. Last year I cycled for about uh, 3-4 months, and then I followed it, and I have been cycling again this year for a couple of months. So I would say my experience cycling would be about 5 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the thing with me is is that not I am 58 now. Mm, so that age, I don't know if it's such a big factor. I used to be an ex-smoker, but that was a decade back. So I think my lungs, to a certain extent, have recovered. Uh, also, uh, borderline. I won't call myself alcoholic, but uh, uh, a beer once in a while. I really love my beer, and I know that once I start on this training, I start on this recovery is so important that I have to be very careful. I'm just laying out all the negatives about myself. So, uh, but it has always been part of my bucket list, and I'm so close to picking it. I thought I have to spend maybe the next year trying to improve my cycling or get to know cycling and sort of work on it. Uh, I have a question. I sort of understand that you're going to divide the group and have two plans where you might say, okay, this group needs endurance and maybe the other group needs to work on power. So my question is, let's say I just say I get into the power group, but there would be a huge difference in let's say the FTP that I am in, or a young person like Walter. He could be in a really high FTP. So the question is, how would you adjust a common training program for two people who are so varied in their power
Ah,
performance?
that's the whole idea of the group. Because
Okay.
I can adjust even with one workout. I adjusted for you, I adjusted for Walter, I adjust for everybody basically, because um, I get all the data of you, right? So I know your FTP, and what I'll do is every 4 to 6 weeks I check the FTP, your set FTP in Training Peaks, right? And what the workouts do, they basically just pick your FTP and then adjust the workout with the wattage goals. And another athlete coming in with a much higher FTP, but maybe double the FTP, right? So double the FTP will get the same workout, but just at a completely different scale, basically, right? So he'll get completely different numbers. So that's how I adjust to that one, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's still individual, tailored to you, right? That's the thing. That's the whole idea.
Okay.
So
Why
Nagaraj, what
I
coach is
understand.
saying is basically, let's say your FTP is 200 watts, and let's say Walter's FTP is 300 watts. Now, if coach is uploading a workout which has a block of, let's say, 10 minutes at 70% of your FTP, for you, it'll take 70% of 200 watts, whereas for Walter, it'll take 70% of 300 watts. So you will be doing the
I
workout
understand.
within your power limitations, and he'll be doing it within his power limitations. The stimulus will be exactly the same because you guys are working within your power zones, which is why the power meter is so crucial over here. With heart rate, we can't
I
identify to this level of accuracy.
I I I understand that. The other question, actually, I understand that. I think the coach would only maybe in training peaks set it as 70% and 80%, and then it might calculate. I'm assuming that's how the software works, and it'll adjust it to everyone's FTP. Uh, the other question is, I understand workouts could be structured something like I'm just throwing it like maybe 20 minutes. I slowly warm up to whatever, if I'm a simple 150, 160 FTP, I start at 90 and I go to 130, and then I might have I don't know, go up, come down, or whatever tempo, some sort of training. The question here is, so there are these blocks of duration that the whole group would have with different power levels. I understand that the power levels would be different. Uh, my concern here is, actually, I was speaking to Sivatsan, and this question comes from there, which is, do you think I'm old? I don't want to get injured. Do you think if I go in a group, the sort of training would be pretty okay for me, or do you think I should go alone? The question is, do durations also need to change, or it could be similar for a group of people with different FTP? I don't know if I'm sort of explaining myself. Do you get my question?
I think so, yeah. And well, age is one factor, right, in training, because it also needs to be, or the workouts also need to consider age. That's basically your thinking, right? And that's also correct. I mean, we consider age in the training, right? Probably since you only started cycling and got on and off a bit as well, probably I would initially leave you completely happy in that endurance group for quite some time. But
Okay.
in the end, I mean, and you'll see progress, right? For sure. But in the end, after a few months of regular work, so regular cycling, right, and being in the saddle, if you manage 3, 4, or maybe all the 5 workouts, right, a week, you'll see progress pretty soon. And then that's the time basically, when you should basically bump it up, right? And some other workouts need to be included as well, even at a higher age. That's the same principles still apply. But initially, it would probably make sense to first get you going and to first get you comfortable and get you some chronic load as well at a tempo pace ish, right, which is initially probably also, um, yeah, also stressing you out at the beginning, but sooner or later, after a few weeks, it'll become really easy, and you'll see that. Yeah. So I think it's just a matter of introducing it later, introducing the intense ride a little later, but that's still age appropriate. Yeah. And by the way, we're not doing, in no group basically. We did training like you would train on a track, right? So those really tough, really hard efforts. So that's not the case. So it's still aerobic work, right?
Okay.
Mhm.
Coach, I think I didn't tell you this, but
Okay.
one of the workouts I
Okay.
did last week, 4 by 10 minutes at tempo. Nagraj was behind me, and he was happily sitting behind me. I was doing 180 watts, and it wasn't like he was having a tough time at all. He didn't get dropped or
He
anything, so
always
he's just
underplays
being a
things,
little
so we don't trust
overcautious.
Nagaraj.
So you were frustrated, huh?
Not at all, not at all. I was happy that he was right behind me.
He's like, what the?
I just want to be safe that I don't get injured. That's it. I'm just worried. That's it. But I'm
He's
excited. I'm
underplaying
super
about his
excited.
fitness, coach.
Coach, no mercy, no mercy, coach. Nagaraj is on.
No
He
mercy.
wants it. He wants the something.
I hear you. I hear you. Yeah. Now you can even see. I mean, age is a number, right? But it's just a number, and that's honestly what it is. I see that all the time, right? And it on how fast you react to the training and to the workouts is sometimes also a factor on what kind of sports. Maybe you did sports before, right? Or actually in the Air Force we did some stuff as well. So if again, if you had some work to do beforehand, right, it's also chronic work and the body's remembering that as well. So your fitness will be getting better and better soon. That's what I hear. Yeah.
We have a question from Walter. Walter, go ahead.
Yes, thanks, sir. Coach, this is just a follow-up from what you were telling earlier, and I was just thinking about it. I know, given the schedule right now and how I travel a lot, my recovery is not how it would be if I was an athlete for the most part and I was staying at home. So I'd be able to, for example, in my usual state, I'd be able to do 5 workouts a week and 2 rest days without problem. But given my schedule and everything, and my recovery in the last few months, as I've observed my body, I'm comfortable doing 3 workouts a week, with 1 intense and something like that. So I will be able to have that flexibility to be like even if there are 5 workouts uploaded, I do what I'm able to do, and when I'm not feeling it, I take a pause, and that's okay, right?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
And one more thing, I have a travel for like about 20-25 days where I travel abroad. I won't have access to my bike, and I'll be in a different time zone as well. So during that time, how do I cope up with? I know this is a group training, but what would be your suggestion in such a situation?
Let's just, I mean, since we're doing tests and retests all the time, right? We'll get you into the system. Let's say we get you into the system flow in anyway. So it's usually not a big factor, right? And I mean, what I also see, it's up to the professional levels, right? People get sick, not riding for weeks as well, and that's the same idea, right? Obviously, if I do a one-on-one, I mean, it's easier, right? But you can some of the groups, right, they text and say, well, hey, I got a fractured bone maybe, right, so I need to pause. And then you can also pick different workouts then, just to make it easy to get in, right? You don't have to hop into a super tough week of riding, right? And I think after a while you also see some workouts, you get to know those workouts, and you know how your effect will be, right? How your body will react to those, right? And then just fade it in. I mean, good thing is while flying, I mean, always have your running shoes ready, and I think that's the best thing to have. Yeah, and that keeps the fitness up as well. How good the fitness is, I don't even know, right? You need to hop on after 4 weeks of not riding a bike. You need to hop on a bike, and we'll see. It's tough to tell, right? But it's at least better than it is without running, right? In the meantime.
Okay, coach. Thank you, Sean.